Tonight, I would like to, as you know, Brother Eric mentioned, yeah, I first came to this temple when I was 12 years old. Yeah, and in that time, the temple, as some of you might know, was quite different. Yeah, not the so big buildings. There was still a green field that we used to run up and down. Yeah, have some sports day, yeah, at the back. But I'm happy to be able to share what I've learned from my teachers, yeah, on the lecture series such as these. And today I would like to speak on what I have called the 6 great gifts. Yeah. So how does this work? Okay. Yeah. And these 6 great gifts, if I may give some background, yeah, involves the appearance or the attainment of awakening by the Sammasambuddha. Yeah. Okay. Right. And as you know, the Buddha appeared 2,600 years ago in India. Yeah, in this continent, yeah, we called India. So when we look at the world's religions, when we say Buddha, many people think that Buddha is only one of the teachers that appear in this world. So Buddha is something, is a title and can be given to human beings, many human beings. Because these days, yeah, I have heard people also tell me that there are living Buddhas in the world today. They say, oh, my teacher is a living Buddha. Yeah. And yours passed away 2,600 years ago. So why don't you come and listen to the living Buddha? He's still breathing, yeah, not dead, yeah, and passed away. So I said, this is what people call themselves. They call themselves Buddha. Yeah, I am Buddha. I'm like in Chinese, in Cantonese, I fat they go. Yeah. So they easily take the title of Buddha. And so that means that people do not understand what is the nature and what is the value, yeah, of Buddhas. So it's important for us to, as Buddhists, yeah, to understand this. Because if we don't, then we will treat the Buddha as number one, God, yeah, or deity. Because there are many people who approach the Buddha as a deity, as a god. They will burn your stick and then they ask Buddha, please give me this. Yeah, and sometimes they will ask Buddha, can you give me 4-digit number also? Right? Yeah, bless me, give me good health, give me peace of mind. Yeah, make my work easier to do. Try to protect me from problems in the work, problems with the family, and also all kinds of evil spirits that are out there. Please protect me from this. So people have all kinds of ideas about what the Buddha actually is. And very frequently, yeah, according to their understanding, yeah, whether it is right understanding or not right understanding, they will not get the full picture of what the Buddha is or was. And what did the Buddha do when he attained the enlightenment? So we must know, we have to understand. So I have termed this talk as 6 great gifts. So in a way, it is what the Buddha gifted, presented, offered, yeah, to mankind when he gained this status or this awakening. The word Buddha, yeah, means to wake up. So somebody who has woken up is Buddha. Yeah, in the ancient Pali language, you put the tongue to the teeth, Buddha, you get Buddha. Yeah, Buddha, right? So somebody who has awakened, who woke up. Wake up from what? The question is, wake up from what? Was the Buddha sleeping? Yeah. So that's why we give him this term. He woke up from the sleep, yeah, from the dream of delusion. Before he became the Buddha, he could not see a lot of things. He could not understand a lot of things. He was still dreaming. Same like us now, we are dreaming. We see things, but we never see the real aspect, yeah, of all these things that we see. So we start imagining things, yeah, about you, about me, about all these things that are around us. We never get to the real, true nature of this reality. So, one good way of talking about truth is also to give it this word reality. What is real? So Buddhism, yeah, or the Buddha's teachings, yeah, is concerned what is real in this world. Yeah, what actually is the true characteristics, yeah, of all these things, of ourselves, yeah, because we exist as body and of mind. What is real within us? So the Buddha woke up, yeah, to this. He woke up and then he realized, he understood, he could see all these things, and then he presented it to us. Yeah, there are these 6 unsurpassable, these great gifts. Nobody else but Buddhas can come and present it to us. This type of teachings, this type of gifts. So when we call ourselves Buddhists, because we have Buddha, we have Bud, so we call ourselves Buddhists, yeah, that means we are trying to be like the Buddha and to wake up. Yeah. Buddhists are people who are trying to wake up, yeah, to open the eyes to see what is real, yeah, what is true. So this is what you must think of yourself. I'm a Buddhist. It doesn't mean Buddhists are like those people in Thailand, in Burma, in Sri Lanka, who just take it as a culture. Yeah. And when you ask them, what did the Buddha teach? I really don't know. But every day, I go to the temple and burn joss stick. Right. But when you ask them, what is the nature of the Buddha? Oh, no, the Buddha always in the temple, and I must go and put joss stick there. I tell you this story. There was one time I went to Bangkok, and I heard in this very beautiful temple there is a Buddha that is made out of emerald. Have you heard in Bangkok there is emerald Buddha? Yeah, actually it's not emerald. It is some green stone, but still very, very precious. So I said I want to go and pay respect to the Buddha in this temple, this emerald Buddha. So I went there, but the guard stopped me. He said, today, yeah, we are not opening, yeah, this temple. So I said, why? Oh, we are trying to protect, yeah, the Buddha. Because it's very precious. It's made of emerald. And then I thought, oh, this is strange. If I want to pay respect to the Buddha, you should allow anyone, yeah, with a good heart to pay respect to the Buddha. Actually, what are they protecting? They are not protecting Buddha. They are protecting emerald. Yeah, they are protecting the precious stone that has a shape of the Buddha. So this idea, yeah, to me at that time, it was quite strange. So if we really want to see the Buddha, it can be made of plaster, made of stone, made of very cheap materials, yeah. But we can value the Buddha if we really understand the nature of the Buddha and his awakening, how he woke up from this sleep, from this dream, right? During World War II, the Prime Minister of Britain was Sir Winston Churchill. He was not a Buddhist. He was brought up quite a strict Christian. But during the time he had to fight the Second World War, he put a Buddha image on his table. So every time he had worries, he was not sure how to direct this protection, this defense of his country, he will take a look at the Buddha image on his table. And then he will feel, he said, he would feel some kind of peace. And then he can think more about how to direct the protection of his country. So when Buddhas arise, it is a very rare occasion. But because we are lucky to be born into the Buddha's dispensation, this sasana, we take it for granted that the Buddha is always here. When I was young, I always saw the Buddha. So the Buddha is the Buddha, right? And there are many people out there who do not really understand, as I've said. In name, they call themselves Buddhists, but they don't really understand what is the Buddha's teachings. So it's very important that we try to encourage our community to at least understand the basic teachings of the Buddha. The Buddha explained in one of the suttas that there are world cycles. That means this universe, there are times in the existence of the universe where there will be human beings. Whether the Buddhas appear or not, it doesn't matter. There will still be life in the universe. But some world cycles, some parts of the universe, they will not have the advantage of listening to the teachings of a Buddha. There's no Buddha appearing in that world cycle. But there will be intelligent people, there will be wise people, they will explain the nature of life. They will say, this is how you live life, this is how you overcome suffering, this is how you will experience happiness. But they will not be able to explain the full picture of what life is. So when Buddhas come along, when Buddhas appear in the world, they will be able to give us the full picture because of their wisdom, because of their perfections, their parami. We call these perfections, or what he strives to practice to become a Buddha, as parami. They are the highest that a human being or living being, any living being, can practice. The root word of another English word, from parami, you get paramount. Paramount means the highest. So parami is also what a living being can practice in order to become the Buddha. So the Buddha once said, in order to become a Buddha, to qualify, to have this ability to wake up, before everybody wakes up, he wakes up first. And then he will tell people, others, hey, wake up now, wake up. So he is the first to wake up and then ask others to wake up. He has to do everything that is good possible for a living being to do. Which means if you ask the Buddha, have you done this good thing? He will tell you yes. If you ask him for 10 years, have you done this good thing? He will always say yes, 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 yes. So in his quest to become the Buddha, he has done everything that is good and possible for a living being to do. Any bad thing to give up, he has also given up. So which means the volume of his good deeds is overflowing. It's total. It cannot be improved on. Because sometimes we take a look at ourselves and we say, I am very good at helping people, but I am not very good at studying Buddhism. Right? But for the Buddha, everything that he can be good at, he practices it until perfect. That's why we call parami. It's perfections. So when he was born as the Prince Siddhartha, he already had practiced all these things that was supporting him in order to attain this awakening. And the Buddha also explained that to become a Buddha is the hardest thing a living being can do. It is the most difficult thing that any living being, and we are talking about human being, devas, brahmas, everything, every living being who wants to attain to good, if they want to improve themselves, to become a Buddha is the hardest thing that any living being can do. So, in that way, you can see that there are not many Buddhas appearing, because to qualify to become a Buddha takes a very, very, very long time. So as I said, in some world cycles, in these parts of the universe, no Buddhas appear. Sometimes for the whole world cycle, one Buddha appear, sometimes two. And we are very lucky because in our world cycle, there will be 5 Buddhas. So Gautama, our Buddha, is Buddha number 4. Before him, there were 3 Buddhas in this world cycle. And their names Kakusanda, Konagama, Kasyapa, and then Gautama. And I did some research preparing for this talk. And I found out through looking at the texts that all the Buddhas that appear in this world cycle, in this part of the universe, will always appear in India. So India has some fascination. It is a unique place that Buddhas must appear there. And I found out that there is a description by our Buddha Gautama that the last Buddha appeared here in India when it was called, and it was still called, Jambudvipa. Meaning to say, it is the island where you can find jambu trees. Whether the same jambu as our jambu or not, I really don't know. But the name of the tree is a jambu tree. And the Buddha, Kasyapa, attained enlightenment on this island. So then I began to think to myself, something is wrong here. India is not an island. India actually is a subcontinent that is attached to Asia. But I looked even further, and I did more research on the internet, and then I really got a shock, because millions of years ago, India was an island. The crust of this earth is floating on magma. It's hard, but it flows on the lava, the magma. And so we move 4 cm a year. 4 cm is not a lot, but when you take into account millions of years, it's a lot. And so, for this island to join the continent, that is Europe, in such a way that is so strong, it created this mountain range called the Himalayas. It joined and then it pushed, and created the Himalayas. So many years ago, and this is something I observed for myself, I went and trekked the Himalayas, this mountain range called the Annapurna range. So after, I climbed for a few days, and I felt very tired. I sat down to rest, and then nothing to do. I dug the earth. And would you believe me, I found seashells. 4,000 meters above sea level, on this mountain, I could see seashells. And I asked the guide, how come there are seashells on this mountain? And then he explained, this was a seabed. It was the bottom of the sea, pushed up when this Jambudvipa hit the European landmass. So if you take into account how many years it takes before you can create this subcontinent of India, right? you can calculate that it was millions of years from Kasyapa Buddha to Gautama Buddha. Millions of years. Right. So from one Buddha to the other, it's a very, very, very long time. But some people will say, were there people in this earth millions and millions of years ago? So according to the Buddha's teachings, there were people, who listened to Kasyapa, and before Kasyapa, the Buddha, Konagama, the Buddha, and Kakusanda, the Buddha. So which means to say, this earth actually is very, very old. But believe it or not, there are people in this earth, in this world, who believe that the earth is only 6,000 to 7,000 years old. They belong to this thinking, this thinking called the young earth theory. And why do they think like this? They take the holy book and then they calculate from the time a man was created until today, it's only 7,000 years old. Then you talk to them, what about the mountains, the tectonics, the geology of this earth? Oh, scientists are wrong. Holy book is right. Earth is only 6,000 to 7,000 years old. Yeah. So I have got a friend who told me this. I said, do you really believe the earth is 6,000 to 7,000 years old? He said, yeah. Then what about the dinosaurs? No, dinosaurs lived only a few thousand years ago. So there's wrong thinking. They are dreaming. They haven't woken up. Right. So why do I tell you this? Because I want to set the background for us to understand the coming of a Buddha. It takes a long time from one Buddha to the other, to another Buddha. Yeah. And so they are very unique beings. And when they appear in this world, they do so in order to wake others up. So they bring these gifts with them. And when they bring these gifts with them, they offer it to us. And sometimes we don't know that these are great gifts. We just think, this is something which the Buddha talked about. Yeah, we don't really appreciate what the Buddha presented to us. But if we really take the time to study and to practice, we will know that these teachings that the Buddha revealed, he gave us presents. These are really wonderful teachings for us to overcome suffering and experience happiness. Buddhism sometimes talk about suffering, but they don't talk so much about happiness. The happiness that you get from overcoming suffering is really wonderful. It is a great achievement. When you overcome a little bit of suffering, you will find some happiness. Little bit more suffering, you will find more and more happiness. So this is what the Buddha taught. So now let us take a look at what did the Buddha actually say about the qualities that appears whenever Buddhas come, gain the awakening. And this is from the teachings that are called, the Nikaya, called the Anguttara Nikaya. There are 5 Nikayas or 5 collections. This is from the Anguttara Nikaya, from the section called the Eka Puggala Vagga. So once the Buddha addressed the gathering, the monks, and he said, monks, there is one person, Eka Puggala, whose arising in the world is for the welfare of the multitude, for many, many people, for the happiness of the multitude, who comes out of compassion for the world, for the good, welfare, and happiness of devas and human beings. This word Eka Puggala means one person. Eka is Pali for one. If you study Pali language, Eka is one, Yeah, D is 2, T, and then Chatu, Pancha, etc., etc. So Eka means one person. It's only when this one person appears, Eka Pugala appears, 6 great things appear together with him. And so he asks, who is that one person? Right? And after asking the question, he also gives the answer. Yeah, it is the Tathagata, yeah, meaning the Buddha, who is an arahant, overcome his suffering, his defilements, the fully enlightened one, Samma Sambuddha. That is the Eka Pugala, that one person. Very, very rare. Right? But sometimes you don't. When the Buddha appears, yeah, he was born as a human being. And when he gained the enlightenment, he was still a human being. But the nature of his mind had changed. So the people who met him, some of them saw a human being and that was all. Right? But when he started to explain, you can see that the depth, yeah, and understanding of this person, yeah, is extraordinary. It's not a normal way of seeing reality and seeing the truth. Let me tell you this story. I got a lot of stories. My teacher, yeah, first teacher who taught me meditation, yeah, he went to India, to Bodh Gaya. Yeah, he is part of a tour. Yeah, I won't tell you who, but he said, he told me this story when he got back. He went to the Mahabodhi temple where the great tree is. You know the Bodhi tree? Have you been to India? Some of you might have been to India. So he went to where the great Bodhi tree is. So he projected, yeah, and he reached out to the Devas, because the Devas there, yeah, were alive when the Buddha was alive. So they must have seen the Buddha. Because 2,600 years is nothing. They live lives that are millions of years long. Yeah, millions. So they still hang around this tree. So my teacher asked, he said, if my paramis are strong, can you show me what the Buddha looked like? Because everybody make the Buddha, look like this, look like that. If you go to London, there is a Buddha in the Friends of the Western Buddhist Order temple, look exactly Matsale. Yeah, he got a Matsale features, European features. Yeah, and you go to Thailand, you get Thai features. You go Burma, you go Sri Lanka, you go China. So he asked the Devas, can you show me what the Buddha really looked like? And then he said, okay, if my paramis are strong, you will show me. Then he went off and walked around, with the others. And then at night time, he went to sleep. And then he had a vision. Yeah, he appeared, according to this dream vision, he appeared behind the Bodhi tree. And then he said, why are you showing me the Bodhi tree? Yeah, and then slowly the camera turned around the tree, and he could see that there is somebody sitting on the other side of the tree. Yeah, and then before the camera turned, the dream stopped. So he was still in Bodh Gaya, and he went up to the Bodhi tree again. He said, if you want to show me, you show me. Don't give me half dreams, Fine, okay, then walk again, went and tour. And that night, yeah, he had another dream. But this time, it was not under the Bodhi tree. Yeah, it showed him a monk. There was this monk, and he was sitting on a rock. And this monk was quite tall and wearing the robes, very worn. It's like you wear and then you wash, and then you wear again. It's yellow robes. And he looked at the face. The face is very calm and quite serene. Very peaceful face. And the arms were very long. Yeah, he saw that although he's sitting and he's thinking and smiling, the arms were quite long. So my teacher was wondering, why you showing me this monk? Yeah, he didn't know. And then he realized that the devas actually were showing him the Buddha. So for the vision in the dream, he looked like ordinary, a person, ordinary monk, but he could see that the features, were very, very peaceful, very calm, And then he looked carefully, and when he woke up, he drew out the what he saw. So it's up to you to believe, because anyway, it was a dream, But the point I'm trying to make is sometimes when you see the Buddha, the Buddha looks like a human being, and not like some accounts that the Buddha walked. There are some accounts that when the Buddha walked, his feet never touched the earth. Because they are Buddhists who respect the Buddha so much, they said that his feet never touch the dirt of the earth. So he always like floating. But no, he lived, as a human being, The outside, is a human being, but his understanding, the depth of his wisdom, is not possible to actually see, right? So, then the Buddha goes on. He said, monks, there is one person arising in the world who is unique, without peer, without counterpart, incomparable, unequaled, matchless, unrivaled, the best of humans. So you might think that the Buddha is going on about himself, trying to glorify. But no, the Buddha was trying to make a statement about the nature of this Eka Pugala. And who is this one person? And he goes on again. It is the Tathagata, the Arahant, the fully enlightened one. This is the one person. So according to this sutta, Eka Pugala Vagga, when a fully enlightened Buddha appears in the world, there is a great benefit. Because he can explain, he can teach, he can show, and he can lead people out of the suffering into happiness. So when we look at it, what did the Buddha teach? We can describe it as there are 6 incomparable qualities. And these 6 incomparable qualities are offered to all living beings, not just to human beings, but also to the devas, to be understood and practiced for freedom and true happiness. So what are these 6 incomparable qualities? These are the 6. Incomparable quality of seeing, incomparable quality of hearing, incomparable quality of receiving, incomparable quality of training, of service, and of recollection. Sounds quite normal, but let us examine it. There are many kinds of seeing in this world when we look at this incomparable quality of seeing. I see you, you see me, we see all kinds of things. When we can't see things, it is a problem. Because there is this school there, the St. Nicholas. Those people, they can't see anything. But we see things. And we pay a lot of money to travel so that we can see all these things. For example, we can pay a lot of money to go to China to see the Great Wall of China. There are so many things in China for us to see. And we go to Europe and we go to America to see all these things. So we see a lot of things that bring us some kind of enjoyment. But the Buddha says, the seeing that the Buddha brings about, it is called noble seeing. It is not the normal seeing, not the things that we see here and there. It is seeing, yes, but it is called noble seeing. It is the highest form of seeing. And this seeing is incomparable because it leads to the purification of the mind. It leads us to overcome our suffering, and attain happiness. Our minds, when we grow up as human beings, we grow up with all kinds of different ideas. And we can't help it because we mix with this person, mix with that person, and everybody tells us things. And so all these ideas and thoughts and opinions goes into our mind. And a lot of these, especially if you grow up as a Malaysian Chinese, you grow up with a lot of funny ideas concerning death. My mother passed away a few months ago on the 28th of October. And it so happens, it is the birthday, that date is the birthday of Venerable Saranankara in the Sentul temple. So all the devotees planned a great birthday celebration for the Reverend. And at night they had this chanting for his good health, for his, to do what he wants to do. And then after that, when the chanting, the puja was over, he said, I think I will go to my house to pay respects to my late mother. And then the devotees were shocked. Reverend, it's your birthday today. On your birthday, you cannot go and see dead people. You cannot go to this house. And Reverend said, nonsense. He took a taxi to my house. And about 11 something, I see this tall monk coming through my gate. All right. So, it shows that as a monk, he is free. He is not bound by all these strange, superstitious ideas. But we are bound. We are controlled by all these ideas, especially about dead people. You must do this, you must do that, you must burn this, you must burn that. If you don't do this, don't do that, they come back and check at you. So we spend money, dong dong dong, ding ding ding, so that this fella don't come back and disturb us. But already dead, so what can you do? You must go and do all these things. When the person is alive, I don't know how you treated the person, but when dead, you treat the person even better. So that is our nature. When I was young, people tell me all kinds of ghost stories, with the result that for very, very many years, I dare not go upstairs from my downstairs at night. My relatives told me all these ghost stories. So I didn't dare to go upstairs if there's nobody. So somebody must go up, switch the light, then I go upstairs. So I was full of fear. But when I came into Buddhism, I understood a lot of things. And that is the nature of the Buddha's teachings. It is to free your mind. Free your mind from funny ideas, wrong ways of understanding. So that we become more sound, we become more confident, we are more solid where we are standing. Because we understand. Right? So in our way of learning, there isn't room for blind belief. Although late Chief wrote this book, very popular, it's called What Buddhists Believe. Did you, library? And he always tells us, I know I wrote this book, but in actual fact, Buddhists believe nothing. Because why? What is the meaning of this word believe? It is that you accept something without seeing that thing. Yes, it's true. Give you evidence, there's no evidence. Give you proof, there's no proof. But I still think it's true. That is called belief. Do you believe I got 1,000 ringgit in my pocket? You believe that? Definitely I don't have. So if I empty my pockets, there's no more belief really he doesn't have. Yeah. But if before I show you my pocket, you might believe I have 1,000 ringgit in my pocket. So that is the nature of wrong belief. And there are many people who are bound by ignorance, believing all kinds of things. So when the Buddha came along, he started to tell people, don't simply believe things. And the Buddha wasn't very popular when he started teaching the truth, because there were so many people who wanted the population, society, to believe in them, to believe that there are things, somebody is looking down at you from the sky. Yeah. So the Buddha said, don't believe. You must practice, you must understand, you must really see for yourself. Then you know what is the truth. So this is the kind of seeing that the Buddha offers to us. Right. So the Buddha also saw that there were many dangers in the world. And as I said, and taught so that people may overcome those dangers. Right. During the Buddha's lifetime, people could see him. So as I said, I wanted to see the Emerald Buddha, but they prevented me from seeing the Emerald Buddha. Right. But he also said, he wanted us not just to see the Buddha image, he wanted us to see the reality, the Dhamma, or the truth. So now we have the monks, the practicing disciples, those who are really practicing to see the truth. Because the actual nature of life is like an onion. You know onion? Onion, you can peel off the onion. So you see one layer, fine. Now I understand. You peel some more, some more. Then you peel until you get to the heart of the onion. So that is seeing the truth, seeing reality, as it actually is. So that is the highest form of seeing. And next, we get hearing. Right? We hear all sorts of things. We hear music. We hear we hear people talking to us, and we tell our friends, let's go out and have a drink so that we can talk. And then you want to hear what he says. Right? So we enjoy that kind of hearing. But that hearing is not called noble hearing, and it doesn't lead us to see the truth. So the Buddha presented us with the highest form of hearing. That is the Dhamma, the explaining, teaching the Dhamma. So it's very good that you today have come to accept this gift. This is not from me. It's from what I have learned. Over the years, I have learned. I think I started before many of you at the age of 12, right? So after I've learned all these things, I share this with you. In fact, this talk I heard from the great the meditation master Sayadaw U Pandita. He is the one who gave me this talk, and I heard it. I wrote the notes. Then I produced this so that the rest of my friends, my Dhamma friends, can also hear it. So this hearing is a very high kind of hearing. When you've heard it, it should also stay with you. Right? This is a better hearing. And rather than go out there and hear the traffic, hear the music, hear the pub, people playing music in the pub, is a higher form of hearing. Where once we have heard is, wisdom and understanding can appear in the mind. But of course we must do other things in order for this hearing, the words, the meaning to take root in our mind. So when listening to the Dhamma, we hear with this intention that we must understand and we must practice. Because if you don't practice, right, it is not going to help you. Late Chief Reverend used to say, many people treat the Dhamma like the medicine packet. When we are sick, we go and see a doctor. The doctor will give us medicine in a plastic packet. So he says, many people take out the plastic packet and say, oh, this is Panadol. Take 3 times a day with hot water, etc., etc. Then after that, keep the medicine packet. Never open the packet and take out. Just chan, 3 times a day, and then keep. So this is what we do. We listen, but we never eat the medicine. So that is hearing without practice. We have to listen, we have to understand, and we need to practice. Studying is called pariyati. We need to have the pariyati. Pariyati, knowledge, education is very important because it gives us a solid base, very sound base. And once we have this base, we cannot go on chanting. We have to put it into practice. And when we put it into practice, we experience what those disciples 2,600 years ago experienced. So that's why some people will ask, the Buddha taught 2,600 years ago. That was a long time, thousands of years. How do you know the teaching today is still the essence of the Buddha's words? Because there have been changes to the text, to the scriptures. There has been changes. We know that there has been changes. But then when we practice and when we get the same benefit, the same result, we know that this part of the Buddha's teachings is still the truth. Because we can tell, you practice this, you will get this. This thing was written 2,600 years ago, described by the Buddha. You will get this. And many people today are still doing that. They know that if they practice this, they will get what the Buddha said so. The result, the experience, the understanding is the same as what the Buddha described so many thousands of years ago. Right? So the Buddha gave us his teachings in a very systematic way. So when we come here to listen, we listen, but we must listen complete in a systematic way so that we understand all the basic teachings. So if there is a course, I believe there is a course here, diploma and all. It's good for you to take this. Because many years ago, we used to study in the Sunday Dhamma school and we will go and take the exam set by YMBA, Young Men's Buddhist Association in Sri Lanka. Right? So that qualification is quite international. But it's good to study in your way, but you have to study it in a systematic and structured manner. Okay? So then we go on. There is the incomparable quality of receiving. As I said, in our normal life, we receive many things. We receive money, we receive property, we receive gifts. Chinese New Year is coming. Kids will be happy to receive ang pao. They're looking forward to the ang pao, and we are looking forward to giving them ang pao. Right? But it is only normal, mundane, ordinary receiving. Because the Buddha gave to us this gift of the truth, that if we receive it, we accept it, it will be very, very wonderful and beneficial. So in this temple, in this center, there is still giving of the Dhamma. there might come a time when we don't have good teachers anymore. And then Buddhists in the future will not be able to receive this. It's harder and harder to find monks. In Sri Lanka, less and less young men want to renounce. This is the truth. In Thailand, they also don't want to renounce. And even if they renounce, they will do so for 2 or 3 weeks. And then they will go back. Because there is a custom in Thailand, if you don't become a monk, you cannot marry somebody's daughter. So you tell the mother or the father, yeah, I became a monk. And then he said, okay, now you can marry my daughter. Then they do become a monk, so in order to get married. Not the real thinking of a monk. Right. So in time to come, this kind of receiving will be very, very hard to find. The yellow robe will be hard to see. And great teachers, good teachers, will be hard to find. So it is a downward movement. And eventually, we will have to rely on teachers who wear ordinary clothes like this. Lay teachers, yeah, who have lay lives, who give part of the time to the Dhamma and part of the time to family. Right. Unlike those whose life is full of Dhamma. Yeah. So those are great and wonderful teachers. So the best gift, yeah, in this case, is the gift of what we call saddha, faith or confidence. That means you have real confidence in the Buddha and the Buddha's teachings. Yeah. Or what we call the 3 jewels in the Buddha, the Dhamma, and the Sangha. So when the faith arises, confidence arises, this is the way I want to lead my life, and I am sure I will find happiness. That is the gift. Because once you have this strong faith or confidence, yeah, it will guide your life. Yeah, it will be the map, yeah, of your life. So, there are 4 kinds of confidence. The first one is the basic saddha. Or we can call it, if we go a little bit more developed, pasadda. Pasadda is confidence with knowing. You know this is the right thing to do. Don't worry, I will give you the PowerPoint slides. Right. Have you heard of what I call the 4 sights? The young prince Siddhartha saw 4 things that made him leave the palace. The first one was old man. Second one was sick man. Third one was dead man. And the last one, a monk. So, the way I understand it, this young prince had seen old people before. There are many old relatives. There are people, servants who are old, right? So he had seen old people before. But on that day he saw, his mind changed, took a different twist. And he developed what is called samvega. Samvega means fear or disgust. So on that day when he saw the old man, he grew heavy in his heart. He began to think, yeah, I am going to grow old. My father is going to grow old. My wife is going to grow old. My friends that I play with are going to grow old. We cannot hang on to this youth. I cannot hang on to my hair. Now getting less and less hair. You ask Leslie. So it gets less. Everything that we have, yeah, our eyes, our seeing, our energy gets less and less as we grow old. So on that day, the young prince, when he saw it, he got samvega, which is fear, disgust. Too much already. And then when he saw the sick man, it compounded him. One day I will also grow sick. And I might die. My father is going to die. I am going to die. My wife is going to die. Everybody around me is going to die. It hit him like a rock. You cannot say that he didn't see dead people before. He was born into warrior caste. They used to fight before they can walk. The nature of his people was to fight. This group that he was born in, Sakyas, they were warriors. Right? So although he was schooled in writing and reading, he was also schooled in sword fighting and archery and riding horse. So he must have seen dead people, because when you fight, you result in dead people. Right? But on that day when he saw the dead person, his heart became very tight. Samvega is called. And the fourth one that he saw gave him pasada. Because when he saw the ascetic monk, suddenly he knew what he had to do. I know what I must do. It was so sure. He had no choice. He had to leave the palace. That is called pasada. It is a sureness. His mind cannot have two ideas, only one idea. I got to go. That is called pasada. So saddha is like this. When we understand the Buddha's teachings, when we put it into practice, we get a strong faith. We accept that this is the truth. There are many teachers out there, but this teaching is the one that tells us about reality. Next one is saddha accompanied by knowledge. That means the more we study, the stronger is the saddha. And then there is the saddha of the Arya. The Arya are those people who have attained one of the four stages of freedom. Sotapanna, Sakadagami, Anagami, Arahant. Their faith in the Dhamma is unshakable. No one can take away this faith because they have seen the reality. They have seen it. So if you tell them that is not the truth, they will say, you are mistaken. Something is wrong with you. I have seen it. You tell me it's not true? That is their very strong faith. And then the next one is the faith of Bodhisattva. Meaning to say, these are the beings who from life to life to life work to becoming a Buddha. So one of these days we can discuss that, because this story is a very long story about how Buddhas are able to attain the Buddhahood. There's a lot of understanding and knowledge involved. Then there is the incomparable quality of training or practice. When I was working, my boss used to send me for training. All kinds of training, management training, budget training, I must make money, training to look after my students, etc. So I was sent to a lot of different trainings. It was very good because my employer believed in training, would spend millions of ringgit per year to train employees. But that training is very different from the training I experience when I come into contact with the Dhamma, with the Sangha. It's a different training. It's the Buddha's training. So this training that is not worldly, it leads to opening of the mind. It leads to development of wisdom. So we can see the truth of reality, what is real in this world. And the best form of this training, we call it Sati Putana, the foundations of mindfulness. Because this is the unique path of the Buddha, this training that will lead us out of suffering. Mindfulness is a mental state, but it is a mental state that is wholesome. It's pure mental state. And this mental state can lead us to see what is real. Because we are concerned with awareness, seeing reality, and eventually the quality of the real nature will appear in our minds. So the mindfulness training is the highest form of training that we will ever encounter. The Buddha said, this is the one way. Ekayano maggo. That means it is the one way to attain freedom from suffering. You cannot find this way in any other religion. No other religion teaches the 4 foundations of mindfulness. In other religions, you can find charity. You can find helping people. You can find even concentrate until your mind becomes very calm. There is yoga, there is transcendental meditation. There's all these things that teach. But they just calm the mind. They don't get rid of the defilements. Satipatthana, this kind of training, actually helps us to cut the defilements from at its roots in our mind. And only the Buddha teaches this. So it is the highest form of training we can encounter. And then there is the incomparable quality of support, service to others. In this community, you can find people who are here every Friday, like our brother Eric. What is he getting out of it? Nobody is paying you. But he does so out of the goodness of his heart. There is the service to help people to understand, so that they can practice and overcome their suffering. This is great service. So all these monks, all the nuns that have traveled from country to country to country. If you heard the story of Xuanzang, he traveled across deserts, across jungle, across mountains. He only said, must walk forward, must not walk backward. That is the service. That is the spirit of giving service to others. After I have understood it, I want to help others to understand as well, so that you can understand or experience the same freedom and happiness that I have understood. So that is the nature of the Sangha. The nature of the Sangha is, once they have renounced, they do not have any worldly ties, but they must be looked after by laymen. The monks cannot look after themselves. When they renounce, it means they are free of laymen's responsibilities. But it also means they must come to the lay people to look after them. Because the monks cannot work, earn money, and look after themselves. They cannot even cook. If they are very, very strict about it, they cannot keep food from one meal to another meal. Whatever they get for one meal, they must eat. Whatever is left over, they must give to the dogs or throw away. They cannot keep, tonight I eat some more. They cannot do that. One meal is one meal. Once they have got one meal, that's it. No keeping. So this is what the Buddha wanted. The Buddha wanted the monks and the nuns to practice and grow wisdom, develop wisdom. We look after the monks and the nuns, the Sangha. And in return, the Sangha teaches us. There is a symbiosis. I learned this word in science. Symbiosis. We also want to learn, but we have all kinds of family life responsibilities. I got to look after my wife, my house, my car. They are free, to study and practice. But for their needs, they have to come back to us. It's our responsibility to look after them. So that is the service. Once they have attained, they are free from all this suffering, they come and tell us, this is the way to do it. How do you know? I have done it. So now I show you the way to do it. This is service. And it is the highest form of service in the world. So when one sees a member of the Sangha, one sees a person who practices the great qualities and represents the highest service in action. So we pay respects to the Sangha, if not for anything else, it is for the fact that they observe more precepts than us. And because they observe more precepts, we have to respect them. Because their lives are governed by precepts. We take minimum 5. They take hundreds of precepts. So we have to respect them. Because they provide this service to us. You see, all these books written by great scholars, great teachers, great monks and nuns. And the last one is the incomparable quality of recollection or reflection. That means after you have heard this talk, you go back and you think some more. You create new understanding by reflecting, recollecting. I hope you come here for Dhamma, don't just eat and then go home. You have to eat already, you must tapao. You tapao it home. So that for the rest of the week, you got something in your mind. Don't just come here one day and that's it. You have to take it home. Recollect. Reflect. What did I hear? What did the Buddha say? What did my teacher teach me? Recollect. We can recollect a lot of things. We can recollect our memories. Nowadays, my classmates from secondary school like to recollect. When we get together, they sing the school song again and again. Quite embarrassing in the restaurant. They say, we must sing the school song in the restaurant. So I all stand up and start singing school song. I just join them. So they are recollecting memories, which was very good now in those days. But we are recollecting the truth, the Dhamma. So when we have quiet time, and I recommend everybody to find one time during the day when you can sit and recollect. And even if you don't want to recollect, let your mind be calm and peaceful. It is only in the quiet mind that you can make connections. In the quiet mind, wisdom can grow. If your mind is busy here and there, you cannot make the connections. I give you this analogy. Children, you like to do this activity called join the dots. Have you seen the children? They have these books, join this dot. Hey, suddenly elephant. They join the dot. Suddenly it's a tree and a house. But before you join the dots, you don't know there is a tree. Only when you join, it's a tree. That's what happens to us when we quiet our mind. When we quiet our mind, the dots in our mind starts to join. And then we understand things that we never understood before. It is a form of recollection. The Buddha tells us the human mind is bright and luminous. Is your mind bright and luminous? Mine certainly isn't. Why isn't our mind bright and luminous? Because we put things there that disturb our bright mind. What are the things? Envy, anger, irritation, greed. I want this, I want that. I want new things, new government, new things. I want this, I want that. Right? So because we want, and then we want, not just we want to push away, I don't want. We have all these qualities in our mind that suppresses the brightness of our mind. If we take out all these things, the nature of our mind is to be bright and happy. This is the natural state. Yeah, you can say default setting. The default setting of our mind is bright and happy. But because all those things are there, we are not bright and happy. So one of the practices, is to let go of all these things which disturb our minds, and then we find automatically the default setting of happiness. The study and the practice of the Buddha's teachings should result in light and happy mind. This is the result of practicing the Buddha's teachings. So we have the incomparable quality of reflection, which we should do often, and also deeply. We have to think, right? Because we sometimes, I don't know, our education system does not teach us to reflect enough. The nature of our education system is memorize, go and sit exam, get A. That's all we want. We want A's. But we ask the kid, do you understand anything? No, I just memorize. And when the education ends, they forget everything. That is not education. That is a system. It's a system that we have organized ourselves in order to achieve. So real recollection helps us to go deeper. Because the more we think, the more we recollect, the more we reflect and relate it to our life. This is my life. I'm seeing all these things. I'm experiencing all these things. This is how the Buddha explained it. And then we connect. And from that connection, wisdom will grow. So these are, I hope it has some meaning to you. This is what I am offering to you this evening. As the great gifts of the Buddha. And it's important also that we appreciate what is being said in Dhammapada verse 182. Because in this verse it says, hard it is to be born as a human being. We think that human being is quite easy. But actually it is not easy. In order to be born a human being or higher, the last thought moment before we die in the last birth, it must be free of strong greed, hatred, and delusion. Then only we are born human being or higher. If we are caught up in greed, we will appear in the lower realms, such as hungry ghosts, because they have strong greed. They cannot let go. So one of the things is, if your relative, your grandfather, grandmother is dying, don't cry and say, Kong Kong, don't go. Kong Kong means grandfather. We miss you, don't go. So that person, he will die and he won't go. He will stay around your house. Every now and then the kids will see him. I saw Kong Kong in the corridor. Huh? Don't tell me. Because if they die with strong attachment, they will come back. They cannot go. If they die with strong anger, they will become those spirits out there in the road that make people have accidents because they're angry. Yeah? And if they die with delusion, they will most probably become animals because animals are really, they can't think. Although there was a cat here once, I saw, go to the shrine room and pay respect to the Buddha. What happened to that cat? Yeah, I saw, yeah. So this poor cat used to be one of the devotees here. Passed away, became a cat. Every now and then go to the shrine room and bye-bye to the Buddha. So that's what happens. And if we are really anxious, so worried about everything, right? Our mind is totally not at ease when we die. We will end up in the hell worlds. And that is the nature of the hell world. Those in the hell worlds, they have not one moment free from anxiety. Every moment they have anxiety. So it's like suffering. And when you go to places like Hopa Villa, the anxiety, they represent as sawing, as burning, as cutting. Actually, it is anxiety of the mind. So that's why the Buddhas, in Dhammapada, it is said, yeah, hard it is to be born as a human being. Hard is the life of a mortal. That means as a human being, as a mortal, we got so many things to do. Yeah, we have responsibilities. And it's not an easy life. And it is hard to hear the true doctrine, the Buddha's teachings that leads us to see reality. Because that is what the Buddha's teaching is all about, is to see the real. We don't want to imagine. Yeah, we don't want to dream. We want to wake up to see what is real. Rare is the appearance of a Buddha. Right. So while we have teachings of Buddha still with us, yeah, we should try and study and practice as much as possible, yeah, so that we can gain the full benefits of these gifts. So with that, yeah, thank you very much for your attention. Yeah, I wish you, everyone, peace and happiness.
We thank Brother Tan for delivering an excellent talk. Any questions, brothers and sisters?
Is nothing. It's very, very short. The Devas live for millions of years. The Brahma live for millions and millions of years. Our lives maybe 80 years, 90 years, happy already. So our life just come and go very quickly. But, yeah, in order for this person to become Buddha, he must come to the human world. Cannot become Buddha in the Deva world or the Brahma world. This being must come to the human world, take human birth, only can become Buddha. That's why we are unique. We are more unique, we are more fortunate than Devas and Brahmas. Because we can understand. The chances of us waking up is higher than for them. Because they have so much enjoyment that they don't want to think about suffering. The only time the Devas think about suffering is when their lifespan comes to an end. Then they start to suffer. Oh, I'm suffering. By that time, it's too late. Now, we have suffering off and on. So when I talk to you about suffering, you can understand. When we understand suffering, we understand the Buddha's teaching. There was one young man, when I gave a talk in Subang Jaya, he said, I don't understand what is suffering. He's 20 years old, he was at that time, 20 years old, and he was studying in Australia, and he was very healthy, so he could not understand what is suffering. Because all his problems, suffering, taken care of by his parents. You only enjoy. So I said to him, yeah, you give yourself another 15, 20 years, come back and talk to me. When you start getting old, you start having problems with your eyesight. Yeah. Start having problems with your back. And all these things inside your body. You come back and talk to me about suffering. So, what I'm trying to say is, although we are human beings, short life, we can do a lot. It's hard to be born as a human being. Indeed, it is hard. But we don't appreciate it. So, what is foretold in the scriptures is that there will be one more Buddha to come, and this Buddha will come in the far future. Just as I make this comparison of the Buddha Kasyapa teaching in India when India was an island. How long ago was that? Before 4 cm a year, this island went and joined Asia, the rest of Asia. Millions and millions of years. So according to the scriptures, there will come, our lifespan is getting shorter and shorter. Although medical science says our life expectancy is more, lifespan is getting short. And when lifespan is getting short, women will have to start reproducing at a younger age. Which means they become able to have kids younger and younger and younger. And I can give you proof. That there's this girl in South America, 9 years old. She became a mother. She started to, have her period. At the age of 8, she had a baby at the age of 9. It's becoming backwards. So there will come a time when our lifespan will be very short. Because we don't observe precepts. The more you observe precepts, your lifespan will be long. People who observe precepts will have longer lifespan. And then, human beings will have longer life. And they will live very long lives, thousands of years. And then after that, the lifespan will come short again, until it's about 100 years. And then Maitreya will come for enlightenment. And then he will teach the same Dhamma. All Buddhas teach the same Dhamma. And then the Dhamma will endure a few more thousand years, and then after that it will disappear, and mankind will go on until the end of the world cycle. This world cycle will come to an end. So before Maitreya comes, don't worry, the world will not end. According to Buddhist teachings. But the Chinese people cannot wait for Maitreya. They make picture and portrait of Maitreya very fat. So that is Buddha, but it is Maitreya, Maitreya Buddha. The meaning is from the word metta. Actually in Pali, metteya. Sanskrit, Maitreya. He will be full of metta. Our Buddha Gautama is very clever, intelligent. So some Buddhas have different strengths. Some more metta, some more intelligent. Some are based more on effort, virya. They are very hardworking. Right? So they have different strengths. But they will all teach the same Dhamma. There will be no difference in the Dhamma. They all teach Four Noble Truths and Noble Eightfold Path and seeing the nature of the world as anicca, dukkha and anatta. Yeah. By the way, only the Buddhas teach anatta. And anatta is linked to nibbana. And nibbana is linked to satipatthana. Yeah. If you study carefully, you will see that these are the unique teachings of the Buddha. Does not appear in any other teachings. So, just to end it, it's good for us to understand. When the Buddhas don't appear, wise people will teach that the nature of the world is anicca and dukkha. So that's all they will explain. The world, life is anicca, changing. And it is dukkha, unsatisfactory, suffering. They cannot understand anatta. They cannot understand that there is no permanent entity. Because Buddha can see it, Buddhas teach anatta. And when you strive to understand anatta, the reward is nibbana. Yeah. So that is why Buddha's teaching is unique. You will find no one else, no one else, I can bet you, who teaches in this world, the concept of anatta. No permanent self. No reincarnation. There is re-becoming, but no reincarnation. Hope you answer your question. Yeah. Maitreya will come long time from now. Any other question? Yes.
You mentioned something like all Buddhas come or are born in India. Any reason why?
I have no idea. Because it is stated in the text that they will appear and gain enlightenment in the continent of Jambudvipa. Yeah. So wherever there is this earth, and we will take it as this earth, they will always gain enlightenment in that area. It is possible that in India there will be enough suffering to make the Bodhisattva leave his palace. If there is no suffering, he will not leave. Yeah. The purpose of, his father, who is a Raja, some say he is a king, but actually he was a Raja of this very prosperous area, and he had to report to the king, emperor, Pasenadi Kosala, was actually his boss. So he was very powerful, and they were great fighters, so nobody wants to disturb them. Right? So he was the Raja, and the purpose of what he wanted to do was to make sure his son also become the Raja. So he tried to give him everything to enjoy, so that he won't leave the palace. Because the fortune teller, when he was born, said, he will leave the palace. He will either become the king of Chakravatin, the king of the world, or he will become Buddha. So of course his father said he become king of the world better. He could not understand what is the meaning of Buddha. That the Buddha changes people's lives. So he gave the son everything. And at the age of 16, found him beautiful wife. So that when he can have a wife, he will not think about leaving the palace. But his wife also, very often, after they enjoy, they have a good meal, they run around the town. Where is my husband? Go and look for a husband. He's sitting in the garden thinking. And I told the father got worried. Let us have another party. Another party. After the party, he goes into the garden, start thinking again. There is no way he could prevent the son from leaving the palace. So this is what we read. Yeah, this is what we see. Because the nature of the Buddha's teachings is to address suffering. As I said, those people who don't know they are suffering, they will find no attraction in the Buddha's teachings. Every day talk about suffering. You know, life is suffering, birth is suffering, suffering. But what they don't see is, once you know and understand, you don't run away from the suffering. You meet the suffering head on and you see it using mindfulness, the practice of Sati Putana. See it and understand it. It will free you from the suffering and bring you great happiness. So Buddhists are very proud of the fact that the happiest man in the world is a Buddhist monk. Proved by Western science, not proved by us. Yeah, if you go online, you will see this monk called Venerable Matthew Ricard. He's French. And when they stuck all these things into him, they found he is the happiest man in the world. Because when he practiced metta, the machine has got no measurement to measure his metta. It just went out. Yeah, it's a fact. When he went into metta, I think he went into jhana, into absorption. And the machine cannot measure jhana. They have no way of measuring absorption. So they came to the conclusion, the happiest man in the world is a Buddhist monk. So we are able to find happiness. But first, we must understand suffering. Cannot run away from it. Because everything that surrounds us is a sign of suffering. Anicca, dukkha, anatta.